That's true. Dang it, you stole my intro.
You got podcast pants on?
Oh, you bet your ass I got podcast pants on. It is officially pumpkin spice and podcast pants time, everybody.
Oh, God. All right, so what's up, HVAC crew? Dennis here. As you can see, we've already gotten started. Rhydon's still typing notes. That's how prepared we are. So yeah, we've got a lot to get to. It is. Well, I'll let him bring that in. What today is?
Yeah,
not right now, but this is when the show. Whatever. I hate recording not live.
We'll
so anyway,
that part out later. I know someone that can fix that in post.
I know. My God. All right. So without further ado, let's get it going.
Yeah, come on. So yeah, what's up, HVAC crew? As Dennis said, you could probably hear me typing away, but I'm still throwing some notes on in here. Sometimes we just, there's no sometimes about it. We pretty much mostly shoot from the hip unless we have a guest. We have a guest, I try to be more prepared. But sometimes it's just fun to get on here and see what happens.
Yeah.
So, as usual, I will start the show with our shameless self-promo.
Selfless,
yes. It is not about me. It is about the HVAC crew. And thank you, everybody, for being part of that HVAC crew. We appreciate you listening. We finished selling out the trucker hats this week. So we are working on a kind of different restock of some truckers, some new stuff to maybe whet the appetites a little bit. Yeah, help fund some of the future of HVAC R&D. But as Dennis said, it's a special day. We'll get into a bit more of that here later. The show's going out on National Podcast Day, which is Friday, September 30th.
Woo!
Yeah. We've made it to another one. We completely missed the last one because we didn't even know that day existed. That was my fault. Good job, marketing guy.
Marketing guy let me down. Yeah,
I did. But I got
we
some
didn't
cool
miss
stuff planned.
National Tech Day though this year.
No, we didn't. We actually were on point for that one. Good job. Pro tip numero uno from Tech Guy numero uno.
So our Instagram is climbing quickly, so appreciate everybody for that.
We potentially have kicked over the 4-digit mark as this is going out, so thank you everybody for following us. The TikTok is finally starting to get off the ground, so go check us out over there. Pretty much everything I'm putting on TikTok primarily is going to be specifically for that platform and one other one that I'm about to mention, which is Trade Hounds. If you guys aren't on Trade Hounds, it is honestly a really cool app. It's streamlined. It's great for all the trades, and it is an app specifically for us. We can get on there. We can post job site photos, job site videos. We can talk to fellow techs from all over the country. I'm working on getting them to get us into Canada so that our boys Foodie and HVAC Doc can join the HVAC crew on Trade Hounds. So we're working on that. But yeah, it's a really cool app. The guys that run it, have been supportive of us as well. So we really appreciate that from them. So go check out Trade Hounds. If you haven't downloaded it, download it. You can also find an invite to Trade Hounds through our link tree, which is on our Instagram, which is at HVACRND, which is also the same handle as TikTok and Trade Hounds. And LinkedIn is also growing. So come check us out over there also. And then, I think that's mostly it for now. We'll do a little bit more promo of some other stuff in a bit. But at this point, it is now Dennis's time to intro me. So go.
Oh.
I picked out my intro music too, by the way. I didn't send it to you, but I picked it out.
You're gonna have to give it to me, or I can't put it in there.
I know. Oh, you're gonna find out about it.
I can't top that intro you had last week.
I know. You don't have to intro me. Just play some cool music right here. Go.
So, we have a guest on the show tonight. The pencil pusher extraordinaire. He's can't keep his car clean, but he does a good job on the podcast. He crushes his brand. He knows his brand inside and out. Welcome to the show, Rhydon.
I'd rather dig in a cooler, man, than dig in a ditch. I'm sick and damn tired of being somebody's bitch. I've been working all day, about time to quit. Waiting on 5 to start on 6. Everybody watching that tick-tock tick. The slower it goes, the closer it gets. We'll be cracking it, a popping it, a giving it a twister. Waiting on 5 to start on a 6er. Waiting on 5, waiting on 5, waiting on 5. When it's time.
What's up, everybody? So excited to be here. I'm pumped, ready to go, ready to get into this show. Big things are happening.
And your
big
mic's
things. And dang it, and I even turned it down. I even promised Zach that I would turn my mic down, which I actually did. Maybe I'll turn
Zach's
it down.
like, good show, guys.
I think
Mine's
actually
mic's flipping.
I got a little bit too close, a little too excited, too much excitement.
Well, I got the screen back on mine, so I don't know how it's.
It sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, see the lines on the screen. Yours are just, man, yours are up there.
Well, and you know what's funny is months ago, yours used to be that way on my screen, and now they're not.
I think that Zencastr changes quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll blame Zencastr.
All right,
Dang
so
you, free recording platform.
yeah, we were talking about doing a little short show here, but I don't know if we can pull it off.
Probably not.
So what have you been up to? We got a lot coming up.
A bunch.
Just day to day. You been any job sites, any
I've not gone to a job site this week, but I am due a visit to my new construction job. I actually sent 5 roughs out to that same job this morning. I think that's the most roughs I've sent to one new construction project since.
That is pretty decent.
Probably when I was in Greenville. It's been a while since I've done a bunch of new construction outside of like just, big drop ship multifamily stuff.
You got to get out there and get some pics.
I know. They're actually getting ready to start trimming the first building they did, so now I can kind of get back in and get a bit more full footage on a couple different buildings. Before we get too deep into that, there we go.
You know what? I was about to say we strolled right by it.
Oh,
what you got there?
Delightful.
Little hitchhiker?
Little hitchhiker. Part of my trio of cases I picked up yesterday that I sent you a picture of.
All right, so I've already opened mine and I've already killed it. So I'm going to go over here and do the blind pull on the mini fridge.
The blind pull shuffle. Let's go.
And here we go.
What beer will he grab? He's gonna laugh his ass off later when he hears me doing this.
All right. Blind pull.
What do we got?
Old school Yingling. Regular Yingling. It's hard to beat a good Yingling, too.
It is hard.
There we go.
Oh, good pop.
As soon as I did that, my stomach growled.
So, the funny thing is, you go pop a Yingling, you're talking about Tracy cooking chili. So, Kristen and I cooked chili for a wedding, and Yingling was the beer we used in the chili.
You know what? That's why we bought the Yinglings.
It is a good chili beer.
Tracy
No joke.
poured a can in there.
So good.
Been cooking all day in the crock pot. I came home and came in the house, and it was like, just slaps you right in the face.
You're like, I just feel warm and fuzzy like it's fall time.
I know.
And then you're like, I need some fry bread to go with this.
What do we what we got here? It's 61 right here. Tomorrow will be a high 79.
Oh, it's going to feel nice.
It's getting there.
Very nice. Good training weather.
Speaking of that, yep.
Yeah.
That's
we'll
what I've been
right
doing.
on in there.
Yeah, good
segue.
toss up there. Yeah, so I'm doing the training world tour. Feels like got a new product out. It's not too new, but it's new enough. Today was actually an open house at a distributor, so couple of reps out there. They brought some Chick-fil-A in. Contractors just strolled by. I had my little table and my running system set up, and man, do I love doing that.
Now,
I'm going to get a video. I'm going to get somehow I got to make a video of every time somebody walks up to the system. You can't walk up to it without A, putting your hand over the condenser. Is it running? Is it warm air? Or B, putting your hand over the air handler and seeing if that air is blowing and how cold it is. I've probably seen 50 guys come by me, and none of them just walked up and looked at the unit. They all put their hand over it.
You've got to have like a checklist.
I mean, it's
like,
just
like, yep. Oh, no, I missed one.
It's just what we do. I mean,
Yep.
You've been to your neighbor's house. If you're a tech, you're drinking beer out in the backyard watching football, and you're kind of walk over to the unit, put your hand over the top, and you're like, think you might be a little low, bud. A little low on charge. The guy's like, what? That's just what we do, the handometer.
And then you just look up and say, hey, man, beer can cold never gets old.
That's right.
There's a teaser for you.
You may even grab the suction line, see how cold it is.
Yep.
But yeah, no, so we just, I fired up the unit and had some pamphlets and some literature and talk about how it works and pack it all back up and drive back home. Good day.
I remember the days of packing up, driving to Wilmington to count a warehouse and then turn around and drive back. Actually, I call it a warehouse. It was a storage facility that we modified into a warehouse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was on the other side of Raleigh today, like on the other side. Past Red Oak, couldn't get a picture of that in time. I never can catch it.
And he was not prepared on the way back either, apparently.
Well, you can't see it on the way back.
I guess that's true.
It's for the drive in. Like, they got it turned and everything is for, like, coming in.
That's true.
Huge brewery, though. It looks big from the road, anyway.
Huge brewery. Huge.
Have you not been there?
No, I haven't. I've driven by it a million times, just like you have.
So, yeah, I've had that going on. Got tons of trainings coming up the next 2 weeks of going to contractor shops training. Thursday, well, it's already gone when you hear this.
That's true.
Got a golf tournament. Had a golf tournament on Thursday. Yeah, that's weird. Can't talk about it.
Well, we'll talk about it, and you talk about what your plan is. What is your pregame plan?
Well, I got to be 64. That's what I had the last 4-man scramble with 3 guys that shoot in the hundreds. So that's what I got this time.
I feel like that literally just sounds like Dennis slapped those 3 guys on his back and lugged them down the fairway. For 18 holes.
That 64 is pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
Every hole there's usually barely one in play when I hit. I'm just saying, it's just bad. It's bad. Speaking of that, U.S. won the President's Cup. Woo.
Woo. Won the President's Cup. One of Kristen's high school friends got hit in the can by Jordan Spieth. So he then signed the golf ball and gave it back to the guy. It's just funny. I sent Dennis a picture of that. I'll post it if I can. I'll have to blur the name and stuff out, but that was pretty funny.
So we went on Friday, and I've been to a Ryder Cup. I've been to a lot of other events. President's Cup was on my bucket list, so I went. I've got to say, though, not my favorite. I mean, I hate to say that. You know, you always talk about your bucket list stuff, and then you go and you're like, God. But the problem is there was shit tons of people, but only 10 golf balls being played at one time. That's the most. You know what I'm saying? There's not 150 golfers out there.
So yeah, they were just like hole to hole to hole, just like migration. Is that how it was working?
Well, yeah. You couldn't get to see a shot. I mean, it's too many people for too little golf. It's
that makes sense. It
was a huge venue, right? But they had a ton of huge. Damn it! They had a ton of venues built, like the fan shop where you buy your stuff was probably like 3 football fields long. I mean, I don't know. It was insane. The amount of scaffolding and grandstands that they built. They said that was the most ever at a President's Cup, but you couldn't follow the golfers around. It was just too many people because there wasn't enough out there playing. There was just only a few matches going on. So
now for people,
Sunday
I
would
was
have been good.
I was going to say, for people that don't know how the President's Cup works, do you want to give like a quick, few minute rundown of like this is how it works?
Yeah, I mean, so there's 4 days. It's the international team versus the U.S. The Ryder Cup is the Europeans versus the U.S.
Gotcha.
So on the international team, the international team has a, what do they call him? The coach. Damn, I can't think of the name. What they call him? Anyway,
manager?
No, it's a Anyway, so he picks his team, which is, I think they carry 11 because they might carry 12, and you play 10 at a time. So 2 sits on the bench. So one day you'll have, Thursday was alternate shot. So you got on each team, you got 2 guys on a team, and he hits, then he hits, then he hits. So then whoever wins that match gets a point. So you got to have so many points to win total. Friday, every guy plays their ball, and you take the best score. And then I don't know what they did Saturday. Sunday, it's all 10 guys playing, and it's match play. So it's 1-on-1. And so, the night before, they'll have a press conference, and he throws out a man, and then the U.S. guy will throw out a guy to play against him. And then he throws out a guy, then he throws out a guy,
So it's like
pretty
having
cool.
it's like having a head coach or a manager.
Right.
Basically.
And it's almost like it's just like you pick your fantasy team, right? You throwing you guys out.
Yep.
You're like, okay, I'm going to put Jordan Spieth out. And then the international team has to answer and say, all right, we're going to put so-and-so up against him. And then they'll play a match. And then, so like I said, I mean, on a normal golf tournament, there's, 150 guys out there. And then, of course, whoever makes the cut keeps going through the weekend. But you can walk around and find.
You can see something going on at any given
Well, you
time.
see 4 guys playing, and there might be 6 people watching them because they're nobody. But they're pros, and you can walk around and watch them. But, Tiger rolls up in there, or used to, you couldn't get around that hole. Like, it was just packed. That's the way this was for everything. And I was just like, I didn't get to see but like 2 golf shots the whole day.
That's why Dennis was just staring at the bottom of his President's cup. Hey.
Yes. Well, you end up going and like we're watching it on a big screen, and having some cocktails and but we met some distributors out there and we talked HVAC, which is cool, So this golf tournament, this is a first annual for a distributor. I'm pulling the trailer out there, setting the tent up with the whole, the running system and the tankless, water heaters. And I think we tee off at 12. So there's lunch and dinner and awards, and it'll be a long day. I think I'm going to get a hotel.
Yeah, Dennis has got training, lunch, and awards, and meanwhile, I'm like, I'm running out of ACs.
Oh yeah, we're I'm hearing that from other distributors too, though.
Dude, it's I'm hearing it from other distributors. I'm hearing it from other buddies and trades that buy from other people because,
well, some of them can resell their ACs to their sister companies up north, right?
Yeah, some can.
Where me and you, where I came from, where you're still there, it's Georgia and North Carolina. There is no.
Yeah, there's no sister company up north to move that to. So once they
Right,
go,
so whatever's left over is trash.
Paperweight.
Yeah.
Or you find somewhere up north that's going to buy it for pennies on the dollar, which that doesn't do anybody any good but the people up north.
No.
And most all distributors knew that was coming. It was going to be at some point we were all going to have to run out of ACs in order to make room for the new ones that are coming to replace them for M1 or SEER 2. But
I mean, it wasn't too right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, trying to run out right at the end of cooling season is a very tough feat.
Well, and the thing is, I'd rather be running out of them now than be trying to scramble to get rid of them in December.
Right.
So I think the biggest headache is just getting guys to actually plan on how to deal with their trim outs and stuff for all these big custom homes and different stuff. Because like I said, I don't really get into like track style new construction, but I've got 3 or 4 guys that have like some builders that build a dozen to 2 dozen houses a year, but those houses are multi-million-dollar houses with 4 or 5 systems in them. But they'll rough it in. They might rough it in February, and they're not doing trim outs till November. So the headache has been these guys that started these houses like this in June, July, and August. They're like, buddy, if you're putting an AC in there, you better think twice about it, or we better set it up for dual fuel, because we don't know what you're going to trim this thing out with unless you buy it now. And if you buy the AC now, you got to put it in before the end of the year. You're toast anyway.
Right, you got to put it in. And I know our Canadian buddies listening to this show are like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming they fall in the above the Mason-Dixon category.
Oh, I mean, they would, but they're not regulated by our EPA, so...
That's right. That's what I mean. It's a mess.
Yeah. Which we talked with Doc and with Foodie about some of that. We didn't really get into crazy detail.
They're just not dealing with it.
Because that's not something that they deal with. They're dealing with such badass high-end commercial stuff all the time that they don't even have to bother with the little 1.5 to 5 ton stuff I deal with every day.
Yeah, I mean, residential, though, is a huge part of HVAC, though.
Huge. God, I'm crushing that word.
All right. Let's see.
So tell me about your zoning issues. We talked a little bit about it, but fill me in.
I'm trying to remember if I did talk about this. I can't remember.
Zach, that beard scratcher is not me, by the way. Just so you know. That was all Dennis just then.
I know. He's like, God, why does he keep scratching his beard? I don't know.
It itches sometimes.
It itches.
I have dry skin. It's
so I went to another
season.
Yeah, now I got phantom scratch. It itches. So I went to a job site again. Zoning still something that we can't get figured out in the field. So basically the system that I'm working on now, it's inverter driven and it's looking for an indoor coil temp based on the suction pressure. So whatever you got going on airflow inside, it's non-communicating. So they had just a Honeywell zone system on this and nowhere to dump the air. So they're dumping it in the return. And the coil gets freezing cold. And the outdoor unit just throttles down because it's like, oh, nope. Which on a single stage unit, you got the DAT sensor on a Honeywell, right? You got the temperature at which that supply air gets to a point, it shuts you down anyway. With an inverter system like this, that's reading suction pressure, like it just keeps throttling down to the point where it's like, all right, now we got to shut off or we're going to freeze up. So you never walk up on a frozen coil, but it also don't maintain when it gets, above 80 something degrees outside. So I asked the guys, like, we got to set this zoning up. Like, I know this is the problem, and it's not the brand of outdoor unit because they're wanting to rip it all out. And I said, we need a manometer. We need a set of gauges with suction line clamp, liquid line clamp. And he doesn't have any of that. He has none of it. I was just like, man, how do you can't set any of this up without it. So, yeah, all I want to point out is that when you're setting up zoning, I always look at my static pressure based on your blower chart, whatever your air handler or furnace, your total static, put the system in worst case scenario, open the smallest zone by itself, and check your static. Try to get your static as close as you can, without just start cracking your bypass. You get the Honeywell bypass damper. It's just in the middle when you pull it out of the box. You got to adjust that. Believe it or not. So, or as what's his name says, was it RTFM?
Yep, RTFM. Read the effing manual.
Yeah, so I get the static right, but in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I'm looking at my superheat. So if my superheat gets to the point where it's dropping way down in the single digits, then it's going to freeze up eventually on a long run time, because the cold air can't get out of that coil, or out of the box. So that's when you can crack the bypass a little more, you really need to get that supply air dumped somewhere other than the return box, or make it really long, make the flex long, or dump. In this case, we were able to dump it into a return plenum way down the line, so it would mix, right? So it wouldn't be freezing cold by the time it got there. And he just didn't realize that, right? He just didn't understand. So then the outdoor unit started to throttle up because we had a little more warm air coming in. And it should be good to go. But keep running into zoning problems.
Well, and I have a feeling we're going to see more and different zoning problems as we go into everybody's new platforms.
Yeah, you got 3-stage units, which, all that stuff should help zoning.
Should.
But it doesn't fix it, right? Like,
that's it.
Oh, it's a 3-stage unit. Oh, it's a 2-stage unit. It's great for zoning. Yeah, but it's still refrigeration.
Well, and it's also airflow. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
You can't overcome a shit duct system, pardon my French, with a good unit. No matter how hard you try, you cannot completely overcome a terrible duct system. You just can't do it.
I think we just all need to work on fry machines, like commercial kitchen.
Fry machines and chip machines.
And tater makers.
Tater makers.
Yeah.
Thing was sweet.
It was sweet.
So, let's see.
Of course, I had a humidity call.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I had a humidity call. Where was I at? I was in Fayetteville. A little muggy in Fayetteville. Homeowner. So I walk in the house. Probably a house built in like 2007, vinyl siding, 2-story, on a crawl, track home, million houses in there. So I'm in I go in there, I walk in, it's 74 degrees on the stat, and I walk in and I'm just like, ooh, it does just not feel that great in here. You can just feel it. I go look at the stat, it says 74. The lady's like, look, it always satisfies the stat, but my hair just will not do right.
My hair will not do right.
And I'm like, oh. She's like, that's when I know it's bad. That's when I know the humidity's high.
I was going to say, now, how many times have you dealt with that exact explanation?
That was the first time.
My hair won't do right.
She said, my hair just... And all I could think about is Eddie saying, Clark, if I go sailing down that hill with nothing in between my brain but a piece of government plastic...
Oh, Lord.
My part just ain't going to do right. Yeah, she said, my hair just doesn't do right. I said, okay,
it's already almost time for that movie again.
I know. So I said, you're right. So I put all the old Phil Peace Pros, Phil Peace job link on the, on everything. And I had like 69% humidity in the house. I'm pretty sure it was not that high outside. It was like 55 outside. And I'm like, golly, this is crazy. So I go outside, look at the unit. I go in the crawl, and it's just wet sand. I mean, it's the whole crawl space. It's just wet sand. There's no plastic. There is nothing. And I was like, what have you talked to him about this at all? He's like, I mean, you know the deal. The other system didn't do it. They didn't have any problems with the other system, which I think was undersized, so it ran its ass off. And So this had the one system, 2 stories, 1 stat not zoned. It had the stat on the first floor. And I guess that's just a bad situation. You can't, So I would turn the unit on and put it in forced cooling, and it would just pull tons of humidity out of the house. Start pouring outside. The humidity would start dropping. Of course, the temp's dropping too, but as soon as I would turn the unit off, man, the humidity would just climb like instantly. So we're going to try a couple things, but I told the homeowner, I was like, look, I'm not telling you this is going to fix all your problems, but you have got to put some plastic down in that crawl space. Minimum, just get a little kid and just roll some plastic around in there. Like, I'm not telling you to like dry it in. Yeah. Spend 20 grand, but it's just wet under there. It's just what it does. Like you can't. So all the screws, the system that I was there looking at was a year old and it was rusted out.
Jeez.
I took pictures and I said, look, man, this is not.
You're wanting a new environment for.
No, you're wanting a new unit, and this is not a normal crawl space. Like, you got to get some plastic under here. So you could see in the sand under the air handler all the little drips, the little divots in the sand where that thing's just been dripping. And I said, man, I don't know what system you had in here before this one. Apparently you didn't have any humidity problems, but that's not what you got in here now. I don't know how to fix the old one. I mean, this is what we got now, and I'm just telling you, like, this unit is running, it's doing what it's supposed to, and you've got a shit ton of moisture under here. He didn't disagree. He said, all right, honey, get your coveralls on. You got to put plastic under the house. She was like, no. So, yeah, I've been trying to combat some of these calls. Of course, I'm not in tech support anymore, but I do have these, and we support contractors either way.
Yeah,
buying
sure
the product
that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm out there still, which I have to be, man. I got to still get get out in the field.
So I'll work on getting my field fix either tomorrow or Thursday probably. Since I do need to go and take a look at that job site and see kind of where we are on the next couple of buildings that are coming up. Because the other headache is just making sure to plan that, what we've got going out the door is still going to be timeline managed to do everything they need it to do before we start running out of current heat pumps too. Because at least this whole job is all heat pumps, so I'm not dealing with the AC crisis, but we're going to run out of current, old obsolete heat pumps too. That's coming as well. So
I feel like we need to come on here and talk about as ratings come out. I mean, who's even put anything out?
I mean, ratings are out there for some brands, but what's interesting is I'm seeing most brands are getting like their base level stuff is pretty much ironed out. But their next tier and mid tier stuff is all over the map.
Well, because a lot of them's base tier now.
Yep.
Is their last year's mid tier.
And in some cases, it's like their mid high tier. So all of a sudden, they're like, oh, shit.
So where do you
gotta go from here?
I feel like you gotta have a good, better, best, right? Or do you? Yep. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you should.
Well, and I think...
You think it'll get to a point where brands just have like their Mac Daddy unit. I don't know about our time. I mean, what do you think? You think that's something that'll happen? I mean,
I don't know.
We're getting to the point where our base, junky little unit that we're putting in is 2-stage or it's inverter.
Yeah, that's like there really is no base junky little unit no more.
Right. So what are we going to hit? Like, are we just going to have Train's got their unit and everybody's just going to try to put out the baddest thing they can only?
Well, and I think we see
like
that
10 years from now.
But
I mean,
I really don't know. I feel like you're going to see, at least I hope you start seeing a bit more, what's the right term for it? Work smarter, not harder products.
Yeah.
Where, and you're seeing it with the inverter stuff. You're seeing, instead of having 7 different outdoor units for 1.5 through 5 ton, we started seeing it in stage stuff. So now we have 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, now you're seeing with inverters, you have, 1.5 to 3 and 3.5 to 5. So you have 2 in a lot of situations.
3 and a 5.
And then you'll see them where if you match it with this one air handler or this furnace, it gets this rating. But if you match it with this other air handler, like if you use the Mac Daddy air handler on the lower tier stuff, it makes your mid sear, and then you've got your Mac Daddy up top. So, and I'm seeing that a little bit with my primary brand, is at least on one side of the furnaces, they're streamlining furnaces big time.
I feel like the next move too for other brands is to put out units that the outdoor is just all the technology on its own.
Well, and see,
non-communicating, put it with anything.
You see, if you look at what your brand is doing, they're doing that. And then if you look at some of what my brand is doing, it's doing that to a point, but not to that level. Like I feel like they're trying to start slimming down the number of SKUs of product.
Right.
But they're still not to that level.
Well, because you've got I guess you could say you got the Bosch, the Gree, you got the Daikins, you got that side of the industry.
Yeah, Mitsubishi's, all that.
Yeah, so you got that style of inverter over there that's doing your non-communicating, inverter-driven. It's using sensors, thermistors, transducers, and making an indoor coil happy. That's all it's doing.
Yep.
So then you got the big box brands, Train, Carrier, Rheem. They're still putting out the communicating equipment, but it's like, well, I know Rheem's always been, and I liked it. Is it doesn't have to be communicating, but you're like, oh, you're losing all these benefits, but it still just ramps up on time.
Yeah. Yep.
Now it can't stop in the middle somewhere. It just ramps up to a point, ramps up to a point, and then ramps up to a point.
Yep.
Every 10 minutes, if it needs more, it ramps up. Because I just feel like as we get more complicated, of course, at the end of the day, right, we're still doing the same thing.
Yep.
That's what's funny. We're still just removing heat. But communicating systems with the software and everything, it's just becoming a lot. I don't know. They just can't streamline it.
Well, and
we've been putting they've been putting this shit out for a while. Like,
well, it makes you wonder if they haven't ever streamlined some of it, just because the mentality of the major brands for so long has just been to have all these SKUs of product. It just has. I mean, you've always had what? So if you've got you've got almost plus close to 20 to 30 different sizes and models of SKUs on just condensers and heat pumps alone. And then you've got, all the different SKUs of each different style of furnace, air handler, coil. It's insane.
Right.
And then you're talking about where they're putting the technology going into this whole new set of things. You're seeing some brands are doing it all outside. Like your brand really is all outside. Like you've shared with me and helped me figure that out. You're seeing some of that on my brand just because the bulk of all the new updates and changes, they're all in the outdoor unit.
Now, are you seeing more EVs on the indoors? Or are they still? I know they were trying to get away from that almost.
No, indoor, outside. I think your primary indoors. It looks like are going to be TXVs for at least the bottom and lower mid tier.
Okay,
and then it'll go EEV.
Because I was looking forward to EEVs
now
across the board.
Well, and outside they might be a bit more EEV because
that's
the compressors and all those things are changing. But that's the thing, the bulk of 90%, probably 95% of the new technology that's coming out with my brand is all in the outdoor unit. Furnaces and coils, and the air handlers are getting some updates, but most of the updates for the indoor stuff is just adding Bluetooth for commissioning.
Right.
It's not a whole heaping lot of anything else really.
No, you're just dropping the dip switches. I mean,
that's it.
It was easier to do on my phone than it was a dip switch. Can't see it. You don't know whether it's on or off. But on the phone, it was just like, what's your blower? What's your static? Set your blower. What's your outdoor tonnage? So, I know the brand I'm working with now has a 20 SEER connected, and it's a cell service with an antenna that you strap on the side, and you can remotely get into the system and see what all the parameters are, which is line voltage, amp draw on the compressor, liquid line pressure, suction pressure, liquid temp, suction temp, fan speed. You can look at all that from your phone remotely anywhere. Which is pretty wicked. Wicked smart. Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff, some of this technology, if you look back at some of the technology that our dads had with stuff, it's like, it had to be cool as shit then, but it's really useless. I feel like we're going to run into some of that technology with HVAC. It's like, it's going to look cool for us now, but in 5 years, we're going to be like, God, that was stupid. Why did they do it like that? But, all right. Where'd you go? You're done. You got it on mute or something? No, you're not.
No, I'm right here.
There you are.
I didn't go nowhere.
Focus, grasshopper.
I am focusing.
You want to get into the big news coming up?
Oh, we could get into the big news. We can get into the big news. What in the world? My whole screen just went black. Here we go. I could see nothing for a second.
We got, that Hoptown Brewery.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, while Dennis has been normally, it felt like forever I was the road warrior. Now, all of a sudden, Dennis is the road warrior. And I'm like, hey, I went and found another cool brewery. All of a sudden, I went out and lived life a little bit the last 2 weekends. So Chris and I went to Hoptown Brewery, which is a sweet little spot up in Mooresville. Met the owner and his wife. They're both the App State fans. They were having a little watch party at the brewery, because when you make your own beer, why not go drink your own beer and watch your football team? I like it.
Right.
But we were also there because our friends we had met the weekend before, the Taco Love and More people were set up outside the brewery, so we were craving tacos again Saturday night. And also, since I talked about them on the show last time, they wanted us to come and check them out again. I got some great footage that I'll roll into a reel for them and do a little Taco Love and More HVAC R&D promo.
Yeah, they need to make us a beer.
Well, Hoptown does, yes. The taco people don't make the beer; they make the tacos.
No. We could just need to drink crawlspace IPA and have a taco.
Yes. Now, I will say, Hoptown also had some sweet merch. I definitely, when I saw one of the things over there, I was like, dadgummit, that's what Dennis and I were going to do. So I'm not going to tell you people what it was. But I remember sending Dennis a picture. I was like, Dennis, it's our people. They stole our idea.
I know.
And then, so yeah, that was a fun weekend. We bought a dozen chicken tacos to take home.
What about liquid line lager?
Liquid line, that's a pretty good one.
Sorry, I'll just keep.
That and I had I like the Let's Get It Going lager and the come on seasonal sour. And the Podcast Pilsner.
Podcast Pilsner.
That was Kristen.
That
was Kristen. I was like, ooh, that's good.
That is good. Attic Ale.
Attic Ale.
That might get a little creepy. So what is this Cajun Joe Navy stories?
So I had to take, I know we talked about some last week, but my Cajun Joe is having neck surgery next week, so not 100% sure what the recording schedule is going to be next week, but we'll figure that out. I might be doing it from next to Cajun Joe's hospital bed. I don't know. We might drag him onto the show by proxy. He can at least have something to listen to, because he's going to be bored out of his mind. Once he wakes up, he's going to be so pissed off. So his neck surgery they're doing, they have to go through the front of his throat, or like the front of his neck. So
that sounds terrible.
So like for the first couple days, I mean, like trying to swallow and all that other stuff, like until he can like swallow liquids, they won't let me take him home. But he's got a bone spur growing into his nervous system in his neck that if they don't take the spur out, it's going to start to paralyze him even more than it already has, because it's already starting to take away his ability to raise his arms. And as a 81-year-old, never say die, never quit technician that likes to use his hands all the time, it is driving him nuts not being able to do stuff. Especially with what he's dealing with mom and everything. But so when I went to Asheville with him Monday, the second place we actually had to go to the hospital, which the new wings at Memorial Mission in Asheville are gorgeous, man. That's like one of the nicest hospitals I may have ever been in. It's so freaking nice. And the lady that was doing his pre-op labs, they were just talking about medical history stuff, and then he had talked about being in the Navy, and her son was a 10-year submarine vet in the Navy. So I learned that at one point Dad was friends with a chief that was on which I guess would be a chief petty officer is what he's saying. So yeah, I have no idea where that cut off. It all of a sudden just sounded like you dropped your mic into a field of crickets that were just screaming into the thing. I was like, what in the world's going on?
Yeah, apparently it just stopped and we got to start a new track here. So thanks, Zencaster.
So that's what we get for me complaining about him earlier.
Right.
That was karma biting me in the ass. So I'm not sure exactly where this left off. What was the last thing you heard me say?
It's all right. Well, you were talking. I don't know.
Navy story.
Yes.
So yeah, the pre-op lady had a son that was in the Navy, so Dad started telling Navy stories. And he was saying, one, I knew he had been part of Formosa, which was a small skirmish off the coast of Korea, but then I didn't realize Dad had actually been in Laos, like pre-Vietnam, when some of that stuff was going down. And then also, he had said they had a person on their ship that like had a hero complex. And at first I wasn't exactly sure what he was meaning by that. But apparently this guy would like people they would call like hero complex people would like to go and create a problem that they could in turn look like they were the hero of by trying to solve it.
Huh.
So this guy that had a hero complex started a fire on the freaking ship.
Oh,
that he
ain't
was,
good.
his plan was he was like, oh, it's just going to be a little fire and I'll contain it, so on and so forth. Well, that didn't work out for him. So what became
Was it Jobin?
No. Maybe it was one of Jobin's ancestors. I don't know. But anyway, so this guy set a fire on the aircraft carrier. Well, Dad was on one of the fire teams for the mechanical team, so they called in his fire squad, and he and these other guys they were telling him to take this hose down towards this one hatch opening, because the fire had gotten so bad so fast that it was engulfing all the areas around the munitions depots of the boat.
Oh.
And he said, no joke, he said, there were enough atomic weapons on that boat. The Philippines wouldn't have been left if it went off. He said they would have wiped them off the map. He's like, it would have blown my ass clear of the moon. He said they fought that fire for 13 hours and luckily got it out before the ship blew up.
Holy cow.
And he said when they were crawling towards, or when they were trying to take that hose towards that one hatch, the hatch blew out. He's like, if we had gotten there any sooner, it'd have probably killed 3 or 4 of us, because the whole hatch just blew out. So when it blew out, they made them all crawl on their stomachs, like lugging that thing to it to drop it down in the hole. But I was
So
like,
how did they find out that he started it?
I don't know if he came forward or somebody saw him do it, or he had told somebody he was going to do it, and that's how it got out. I have no idea. He didn't.
That conscience got him.
Yeah, probably. But I was like, holy crap. I remember him telling that story before, but I think I was a lot younger, so I didn't really comprehend like how bad it was.
Right. Yeah, that ammunition
crazy.
starts going off.
Well, I mean, you think about, fully loaded aircraft carrier. That ain't no joke for what's in the old
really
munitions depot of that bad boy.
Can't think of what's on there. It's going to be a shit road.
Oh, it was a shit road. And so the boat that Dad was on is a sister ship of one that's parked in Charleston.
Oh, okay. I think you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also found that he lost like 31% of his lung capacity due to the asbestos poisoning he got in the Navy, which now explains a bit more why when I was a kid it was harder for him to be extremely active with me sometimes, which I used to always blame it on the fact he was old. It wasn't really he was old. He could freaking breathe.
Right. Jeez, Rhydon.
I know. Sorry, Dad.
Oh, man, asbestos. What a great product. But
Yes. Thank you.
A terrible product it is for the humans.
Oof.
It is a good product. It's just one of those like whatever they were putting in the capacitors back in the day that caused cancer.
Yeah.
the capacitor like would never die. Now they suck.
Unless it's made by our friends at Global. Now, those
Unless
AMRAD USA caps, good stuff right there.
Boom. Shameless plug.
Which congratulations to our friend Miss HVAC Ash, who I noticed got promoted either yesterday or today. As well
Is she over the Instagram department?
I think that's kind of what might have happened.
I was just
based
kidding.
on what I'm reading. No, I'm
Sweet.
pretty sure there's a good bit of I don't know if she's overall
the new
but
weather
she's,
girl for
Scottsdale,
Arizona.
So you laugh at that on her promotion announcement on LinkedIn. I went on there and I tagged Mark and I said, "Man," I said, "I'm so glad those weather reports are finally official."
Yeah, they're official now. Official.
She probably would cuss me.
Yep. Reporting again in Scottsdale. It's 72. Sunny.
And beautiful. Thanks.
Yep.
Oh, damn it.
We're sweating to the oldies over here. 90% humidity.
Yes.
All right. So, yep, we got some big news.
The big news. I don't know what time today the announcement happened. I'm assuming it probably has happened before you guys are hearing this. But HVAC R&D is officially going to AHR in Atlanta, February 6th through the 8th. We will be part of the Podcast Pavilion. We are very excited to be part of that group. We were supposed to be in last year's, but thanks COVID. We got a lot to make up for. We've already started working on the show schedule and getting stuff planned out.
We got to get some guests. We got to get.
Yep. Got to line up some guests, get all that stuff set up. I know we've already got, looks like we're going to have 3 shows in 2 days with 3 different meet and greets across the 3 days. And supposedly,
I think we're recording near the bar.
Yeah, supposedly there's a bar close to the Podcast Pavilion. So I booked the 5:00 show on Tuesday, as I thought it would be an appropriate 5:00 somewhere show. To in one way or another see if we can sneak a cocktail or few to the stage.
Yeah.
For the 5:00 somewhere show Tuesday afternoon. Hadn't figured out all of our travel plans, but we're working on that. And Kristen was like, "Man, we need to figure out how to do like a meetup Wednesday night with all of our friends we meet." Because the show closes on Wednesday, but I guarantee most people probably aren't flying out till Thursday. All so right. Maybe we can figure out a way to put together a little HVAC R&D post AHR show. You never know. See what we can do there. After party. Because
that's right.
Because at HVAC R&D, we bring the party. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be a unique experience recording live. We haven't done that.
Nope. Especially in not only is it recording live, but it's recording live in an environment where we either will probably get heckled by the crowd, or hell, we might just heckle the crowd if we get bored. Or the random people walking by waving. Who knows? It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that'll be.
We're gonna meet so many people.
We got one idea for guests.
Yes,
I think there's 4 mics available, so we can have 2 guys together. Which we got an idea for that. We still haven't. We got to throw around.
Yep, we got to figure out some of the rest of them.
I'll tell you who we hadn't had on the show in a while.
Who's that?
And that's our buddy from EGIA, Lucas.
You know, I was just thinking about old Silky Rhino.
Silky Rhino.
No, we haven't heard from Lucas on there. I think he's been busy now. You know, he's planning. So AHR is in February, but EGIA's Epic 2023, I think, is in March.
Oh,
so I think he's full bore into getting some of that scheduled out too.
Yep. So yeah, we're going to be at AHR. Bam.
Yeah. And also you'll see the AHR Podcast Pavilion promo, which I know we'll be plugging, but you'll also see the one that Dennis and I put together with the help of my niece, who it's actually her birthday today. So happy birthday, Amy. Thank you for you and your friends at Myrto May Distillery for hooking us up with one of the coolest venues we didn't even know we'd be able to get a chance to use. But thank you for that. We've still got
that was cool recording in there. Yeah. It's a nice place.
We've got a ton
sweet drinks too,
dude. Yeah.
That smoked old fashioned, God.
Yeah, that was classic. And we've still got a ton of, you know, merch pictures from that I haven't used them all yet because I didn't want to give away everything. But you're going to start seeing those suckers now.
Right.
And you'll see a little bit more of Dennis and I's footage. So yeah, good times. A lot of fun stuff coming up. Very excited.
So that's gonna roll us into my voicemails.
Oh, it has been a while since we've had a voicemail segment. It's been a little bit overdue.
I got two of them. One of them is our buddy Jobin finally called me back.
Oh, it's been a while. I'm curious to know where he's been.
Oh, you should be.
Oh boy.
So Jobin called me, and then since nobody had a crawl space confessional,
oh, come on, guys,
get them right.
It's like, just wait. You're gonna tell this, and then I'm gonna get them at the end. But it's like you're telling me, all you guys listen to us. There's not a single one of you that can't anonymously give me a good crawl space confession. Come on.
It doesn't have to be in a crawl space.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
It's just
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when our buddy sharded and had to go give a quote in front of a homeowner, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we're talking about the story that when you're in the worst crawl space of your life and you've just got to get it off your chest with no judgment. No judgment, just pure.
Yeah, I don't have to say,
laughter.
Hey, this is John from ABC's Heating and Cooling.
No,
how he, burnt the lady's house down.
Yeah, I mean, submit it as your friend's name. I don't care.
Yeah, we won't throw any names out there.
Yeah,
but
no judgment. But yeah,
I want to hear some stories from across the country.
Gotta be some good ones.
I've got hundreds of my own that were just bad. God, just bad. All right, let's get to it here. Let me see here. First one, Jobin. Let's see. All right, here we go.
Hey, Dennis, it's Jobin. Hey, I wanted to let you know that I'm back, baby. I'm back in the HVAC business again. This time I've started my own company. I haven't named it yet, but all I'm working on is repairing window units. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And that's because the other stuff was kind of it was wearing me down, man. I had to stop it. And then I learned a lot when I was in prison. And I'm taking that knowledge with me over to the business aspect, because my bunkmate was a drug trafficker, and he told me a lot about how to run your books and how to do all that without having an accountant. So that's going to save me a lot of money. But, hey, give me a call when you get a chance. Bye.
I feel like Jobin watched Blow and Ozark before he made that phone call.
Yeah, so he's back at it. He's repairing window units. At least he's not taking motors out of ceiling fans, putting them in condensers.
God, now I'm trying to come up with a good creative name for his business for him.
Oh. Maybe it was JT's. No, that was his other one. Jobin Thomas. JT's. All right, so here's the Crawlspace Confessions, episode 68.
Hey, buddy. Hey, I got a good Crawlspace confession for you. I'm listening to your podcast from Friday, and your Rhydon said he started with some Yellow Jackets, and you thought he was talking about those caffeine pills. I have not heard anybody talk about those in a long time, but it made me think of a story of one of our helpers that went into the gas station one morning when I was working, and he thought he was getting one of those pills for caffeine, but instead he got one of those erection pills.
Yes, he got a horny goat weed pill. That's funny as hell.
So he ended up asking to go home, and then we found out why. It's because he couldn't work without having an erection. So we sent him home, but we were telling everybody, be careful, don't go in the crawl space in front of him, because he's going to be pitching a tent the whole time. But anyway, I forgot all about that until you started talking about Yellow Jacket caffeine pills. So I just want to let you know. I'll talk to you later, man. If you need me to write that in somewhere and use it, I can do that, because it's a Crawlspace confession, but it's not my confession. It's just what I've experienced. So anyway, I'll catch you later.
Oh, gosh.
So see exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Call your friends out for a laugh.
Don't go in the crawl space in front of that guy. So when
No.
when he was telling that, I was like, man, he's going to be crawling around the crawl space, just digging a ditch like he's just planting a garden down there.
What's the dang it? That makes you think of Eurotrip. What's the etiquette on boners? Just roll over and dig out a hole for it, or what?
Oh man, yeah, he had to go home. Had to call the boss. So look, I can't work. Can't do this. Oh yeah, that's a good crawl space confession.
I can't.
Thought
work.
you
I
took
keep
a
looking at
caffeine
Eddie
pill.
and my dick's hard.
Holy crap! Can't make it up.
No, you can't. That's the beauty of the crawl space confession, people. Oh gosh.
All right, so we don't. I couldn't find anything good on, at least not worth talking about.
God,
on,
no.
HVAC news
new.
or ACHR news. They send me so much stuff now that I'm paying for it. I keep seeing articles pop up about Tesla building a heat pump, and I don't know how many times we've talked about that on here. He either needs to build one or just stop talking about it. Now, you want to talk about a brand to sell the homeowner. That might be easy to sell. I don't know. Are you there? It's about to cut off again. What's this
I
thing
hope it
doing?
don't cut off. I was trying to see if there's anything at all interesting on any of them. So far, it's just... Let's see, this whole page is just... It's like the only news of the last week is like 4 different promotions of people I've never heard of.
I did see a lot of promotions on there. So yeah, go check out. Don't trek out.
Go check it out.
Check it out. check out Trade Hounds. I was trying to get all that out. Trade Hounds, check out our Instagram.
Check out the new TikTok. Well, it's not new TikTok.
Stupid reels I put on there.
But, I liked your reel. Did you ever go back and change your filter, by the way?
No, it's clean.
Okay.
Well, that's on the first floor. It's 3-story town. Remember, I live in a traffic cone, so
That's true.
There's like zero. Yeah, the cozy cone. There is it's hardwoods down here. There's hardly any air moving through that thing. I don't know when it just doesn't get dirty. 3-zone system. Yeah, a lot going on. So yeah, we got a lot coming up.
Also, Sunday, I think Sunday is officially our most downloads in a day. So thank you everybody that listened to us on Sunday. Catching up.
Well, yeah, Sundays are
Sunday week.
Well, you got it. It goes out on 12 o'clock West Coast.
Yep.
3 o'clock here, which, I mean, you're giving mad love to the West Coast people. But
yes, Sunday and Monday usually are.
Everybody over here is getting, I mean, 3 o'clock is. We tried to put it out at 3 o'clock here, and it didn't, or 12 o'clock here.
Yeah, it's too early.
It didn't do well. I don't know.
We don't have that laid back West Coast attitude over here. It's kind of like who is it? Ronnie Chung on one of his stand-up specials. He talks about how hardcore state mottos are for East Coast states. It's like New Hampshire, live free or die. And then it's like you get to Tennessee, it's like agriculture and commerce. It's like you start going west, and everyone just kind of chills the heck out a little bit.
Yeah, just like, whoa, calm down, man. Jeez.
I remember one of the first days after I watched that special, I walked out at our apartment complex, and somebody had a New Hampshire plate. I don't know if they were visiting or not, and sure enough, live free or die was on there, and I about lost it.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, I got to get up early.
We all got to get up early.
I know.
I hate adulting.
Right? Who said that was going to be like, I mean,
if I had known when I was little I was going to have to get up and go to work every day and not get to play baseball or play with Legos and blocks, I don't think I'd have grown up.
You would have just stayed in your room and played Xbox. Oh, that's what my neighbor does. Yeah, I'm not growing up.
I refuse.
My neighbor's kid's like, I don't know how old that kid is. He's got to be in his 20s. He's crushing some video games over there. He works at Dunkin' Donuts because I went through the drive-thru and there he is. Like, what do you got going on, bud? Corey's like, starts talking about it. I'm like, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. If you're up in my house at that age, the last thing you're going to be doing is playing a video game. You're going to be working on a little exit plan.
Yeah.
Exit plan. Learn how to fly. You're getting kicked out of the nest. That's what's happening. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Can't wait to see you at AHR. Can't wait to show you all of our cool promo stuff we're working on the next couple of months. So stay tuned and have some fun with us and make it a great week.
No, peace.
Peace.
underneath the car, turning on a wrench. Out there on the farm, fixing that fence. It's like watching your team while you sit on the bench, waiting on 5 to start on 6.